so magnificent. It's incredible, isn't it? What a magnificent creation God has made. You know, it's one thing to be a great designer. It's another thing to be a genius creator and bring it into being. But it's yet another thing to be the great life giver, the one that stimulated life into this magnificent creation. And then to give it life, but then to sustain it. You know, just like this watch. If I told you that I just picked up this watch in the forest and it came into existence by itself, it just evolved. You'd say I was nuts. You'd say I was crazy. Why do people believe in evolution? It's crazy. Because they know that to have a beautiful watch, you need to have a designer. You need to have a creator, one that puts it into being. You need to have someone that puts a battery in it or winds up the spring so as to give it life. And then there are the magnificent laws of electronics and the other dynamics of a watch, the laws that regulate that watch working. And then of course, if you don't put a fresh battery in it, or it's not sustained by a solar cell or the solar energy, it runs down, doesn't it? So you have to sustain the watch. There is a great sustainer. These are some of the great pointer proofs to the fact that God truly exists, and evolution is one of the greatest hopes cast upon mankind. This is the glorious creation that God made, the great creator, the great designer, the great life giver, the great lawgiver, the great sustainer, the God who answers our prayers, the supreme prophet of the universe. This is the great God, the great designer, the great genius that made these beautiful places. You know, everything in the rainforest is beautifully interconnected with each other. Notice this magnificent monkey vine climbing up to the heights alongside this magnificent cedar. The way that God has designed things is amazing. So many natural wonders in His creation could not have come about unless other natural vegetation was in existence. Animals rely on other animals. Animals rely on vegetation. Vegetation relies on animals. It's a totally connected system. Everything in creation is so beautifully made, so perfectly designed, with a genius that comes from God. How good is God? How wondrous is His design? You know, the whole creation is reliant on other parts of creation. So for evolution to be true, you know, that it would all have to come into place at the one time. So forget the idea of one creature or one magnificent tree coming into being on its own through zillions upon zillions of zillions to one. The chances of that happening with just one tree or one monkey vine or one creature like a beautiful platypus is so ridiculous. It's impossible. So with God, there's this magnificent creation of interdependence between trees and animals, vegetation and animals, animals and vegetation, vegetation and vegetation. They all need each other to survive. This whole rainforest is a magnificent interconnected system. It has to exist in a system, otherwise it cannot exist at all. It has to have the right climate, it has to have the right nourishment in the soils, it has to have the right conditions for the seeds to generate and to create this magnificent rainforest creation. How beautiful is that? So beautifully designed to fit in with each other. They're dependent upon each other for survival. Life dependent upon life. All of these magnificent things in creation would need to be created instantly to survive. Not one of them could survive on its own without the vegetation to live off or other living things.